Inside Pechanga Arena, San Diego in the Stella Lounge. My name's Craig Elston. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer and play-by-play voice for the San Diego Sockers. This is a very exciting day in the history of the Sockers franchise and for the Major Arena Soccer League. What we're going to be doing here this morning is introducing Landon Donovan to the public. Seated to my left on the dais, we have the head coach of the San Diego Sockers, Phil Salvaggio. To Phil's left, we have the greatest U.S. soccer player, Landon Donovan, who I am now calling soccer's rookie, Landon Donovan. And to Landon's left, we have our Director of Player Personnel, Cheeky Luna. I'd also like to recognize in absentia our General Manager, Sean Bowers. Sean could not be here this morning. He felt terribly sick with a stomach virus yesterday, had to be admitted to the hospital. Trust me when I tell you, Sean was invaluable in this entire operation. His vision in leading this from concept to reality and his negotiating. We would not be here if not for Sean. Sean wishes desperately he could be here with you this morning, and he passes along his regards. Also, we have with us this morning, and we'll be hearing from shortly, the president of the Major Arena Soccer League, Lane Davis, seated in our front row, along with Ray Taylor, Alex Monar with our organization, our team captain, Craig Childs, along with one of our veteran leaders, Brian Farber. Our owner, Carlos Savoya, is here, and we thank him for his presence, as well as our Director of Ticket Sales, Mary Beth Hughes, and our Director of Corporate Sponsorships, Shane Brown. Several of our players are also in attendance, and we thank all of you in the assembled media and our fans and our members of our great supporters group, The Deep End, for being here today as well. At this time, I'd like to welcome to the stage the president of the Major Arena Soccer League, Lane Davis, to offer a statement on behalf of the league.
Thank you, Craig. Lane Smith here, president of the Major Arena Soccer League, and I just wanted to come up here and say a few words. On behalf of Major Arena Soccer League, Landon, I'm very excited to have you play in our league. Phil and the entire San Diego Sockers organization on putting together such a fantastic partnership. Landon has been a tremendous ambassador of the sport for so many years. Our league is growing. We have 17 teams spread across 3 countries, the United States, Mexico, and Canada. And we look forward to what Landon and the Sockers organization can do for the entire MASL and bring this sport to another level. Thank you, Landon. Thank you, Sockers organization.
Thank you.
I'd like to note that once we conclude on the podium, our format here is we're going to hear from our assembled stars on the podium. We will then have Q&As for those on the podium. Afterward, we will break down for one-on-one interviews, and that includes everyone assembled in the front row as well. If you have any questions for our players, for Lane Davis, or for our coaches, they are all available to you once we conclude the live broadcast portion of the press conference. This is more than just a move to raise visibility for the San Diego Sockers. The Sockers are the winningest franchise in the history of indoor soccer, 14 championships, 4 under this current ownership and regime, but they are desperate to get their 5th and the franchise's 15th. Now to explain why on the soccer field it mattered for this team to sign Landon Donovan, I'd like to introduce once again our Director of Player Personnel, Cheeky Luna.
Hey guys, thank everyone for being here. This is a big announcement, not only for our organization, City of San Diego, soccer in general. I think today could be the biggest day in soccer history for San Diego. So, Landon, thanks for being a part of our organization. For the last 2 or 3 years, as an organization, we have been striving to get back to the championship level. We have made a lot of moves, a lot of trades that the league and just everyone in general was questioning. I know a big part of what we're trying to build is in the locker room, then we look outside the locker room, on the field, and those are things that weren't really seen from the outside. So we're almost there. I felt we revamped the lineup. We brought in a lot of new talent. We've tried to bring in the right mix of players. We have a few veterans on the team. Right now, we're at the top of the league. We're sitting there at 10-1, but I still felt, and the coaching staff felt, we were missing a little something to get to the championship level. Now, this organization has always had the reputation for championships. We've never settled for getting to the semifinal or to the final. It's either you win a championship or it's not good enough. So in the last few weeks, when the conversations and when the idea came up about Landon joining the organization, of course it's a no-brainer, right? You have the greatest soccer player in American history even entertaining the idea of being on the field with our guys, the leadership, the experience. It's something invaluable that comes to our organization. So when the idea came up, it was a no-brainer for us. There was a little thought that we all had to talk about and talk to Landon about, because the first priority is winning. Of course, he's going to bring a lot of attention to the city, to the team, but I did not want to distract the idea of winning a championship. After conversations, we realized it was a great fit, the leadership, the experience he's going to bring, and I feel overall this is going to be a perfect fit for our young guys. He's going to bring them along, guide them, bring some of the experiences of international soccer, and it just makes a good fit for where we're at with the organization right now.
Thank you very much, Cheeky. We appreciate those comments. There's one man on this stage without whom none of this would happen, and that is Phil Salvaggio, who had the courage to take a big swing here for the Major Arena Soccer League and for the San Diego Sockers. And now to introduce Landon to San Diego, here he is, our head coach, Phil Salvaggio.
Thank you, Craig. Well, my name is Phil Salvaggio, the head coach of the San Diego Sockers. I want to thank everybody for coming today and being part of this. This is a very special moment, not just for myself as well as the San Diego Sockers. The Sockers franchise has been around since '78. We've been an organization that's won 14 championships, and we're looking for our 15th, you know. And we go back a few weeks ago, and we're sitting there with the coaching staff as how do we get the 15th champion? How do we get there? And me and Cheeks and Sean and Craig, we were all talking, and the assistant coaches, and we go, we need one player. We've lost 4 years, and it's, like Cheeky said, it's unacceptable to lose in here, to be part of the Sockers. So how do we get to the next level? And when Landon's name came up, we were all for it. And I think he's the guy to bring us to the 15th championship. And that's where we got to be at the end of this year. And with that being said, I'll say, yeah. Welcome to San Diego.
It's just like yesterday. Yeah, right? Like yesterday.
Thank you. Vintage. Thank you.
Landon, if you'd like to make a couple comments before we open it up for questions.
All right. So a lot of people to thank. But first, let me give you the story of how this came about, as I'm sure some of you are wondering. Actually, maybe not even a week ago, I received a text from a mutual friend of Craig and mine and that said, would you like the opportunity or perhaps entertain the thought of playing for the Sockers? And my first thought was maybe this was a joke of some sort, but it became clear that it was a very real question and offer. And I sat down with my wife that night and talked to her about it, and she said, you remember, I don't know if it was last year or maybe the year before when you went out and trained with the Sockers that morning in Encinitas. You came home and you wouldn't stop talking about how much fun it was. And I said, yeah, that's true, but going out for training and playing games is a little bit different. And she said, yeah, but you came home with a smile on your face that I hadn't seen in a long time. And I said, okay, well, let's think about it. And cut to today, and here we are. So Craig, with all his humility, won't admit, but he was the one who had the crazy idea, at least initially, to make this happen. Between Sean and Phil and the rest of the ownership group, to have the courage to do something outside the box. And I'm extremely excited about the opportunity to play indoor soccer here in my new hometown. I moved here 3 years ago with my wife and my family. As I said to someone yesterday, the Sockers were the first name and brand in the soccer world that I ever knew, because Major League Soccer wasn't around. I didn't grow up watching European leagues. So we grew up 2 hours north of here in Redlands. The Sockers name I had heard of because of their tradition and their history and their legacy. So to have the opportunity to live here, to have been part of this community, soccer community, very intimately for the last year and a half via Soccer City, and to meet so many of you, to have come and watched the Sockers play, I'm really excited for the chance to get out and play. I want to make something really clear to especially my teammates here and to Phil as the coach, not the owner. I'm here to win, and this is the best team in the league. They don't need a lot, but I hope that I can provide some leadership. There are certainly a lot of things I have to learn about the game and how it works from an indoor standpoint, but I think there's a lot of crossover. Soccer is soccer, and there's a lot of crossover that can certainly, I hope, help in the locker room and then on the field as well. So I'm excited about it, and I want to be here in May with all of you celebrating number 15.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to open things up for questions from the assembled media. I do have the microphone here to allow your question to be broadcast nationally, so I'm just going to ask as I walk off the stage that you hold up your hand and you wait to be called upon and wait for me to come over and get the mic to you so that everyone watching nationwide can hear your question. And with that, we will entertain Q&A for the three assembled on the dais. Please introduce yourself and the organization you're working with.
Greg studied on soccer. Landon, you and I had the opportunity to speak back in October. And this is just an incredible moment for the San Diego Sockers to welcome you here. How do you feel the transition of the skill set from the outdoor game to the indoor game is going to work out in your case?
There are obviously a lot of similarities. I've watched the last two games from start to finish on the YouTube channel on MASL TV, and also trained with these guys. So there is crossover at the end. The objective is the same, trying to score goals and prevent the other team from scoring, but there are a lot of nuances that I'm going to have to learn. I consider myself a quick learner, and I hope that I can do that quickly. I will certainly take the time needed to make sure that I am learning as quickly as possible. We have guys like Farber and Craig Childs here, amongst many others, who know this game inside out, and I'm hopeful and anticipating that they will be willing to help me catch up to speed quickly, and then allow my soccer instincts and what I've done my whole life to provide some of the offensive abilities to shine through and put that all together.
Hi, Landon. Hector Trujillo, a Latino newspaper. Just checking, last season, Leon didn't use you as much as they should have. Do you think that is going to come with you as a mindset to, or was that a decision in you coming back for this season that you know you had more to show last season, but for whatever reason that didn't happen?
Is that Hector? Yeah. Oh, hey, what's up, man? I couldn't see because of the light. Indoor soccer and outdoor soccer are very different. the thought of playing 90 minutes and running around on an outdoor field is quite daunting when you're about to turn 37. The thought of being on the field for 45 seconds or a minute and a half and coming off and resting and then going back out and doing it again throughout the game is much more feasible at my age. And I think it suits my game well. I've always recovered well from minute to minute in a game. I've been physically able to do that very well in my career, and I think this will suit me very well. I think this is the right opportunity for me personally to continue to play the game I love. And it's beautiful that it came about in this way, in this city, with this team. And I'm very fortunate. I do believe that things are happening the way they're supposed to, and I'm going to take this opportunity with both hands and try to make the most of it.
Ivan Carter from the Union Tribune. Years ago, I did a story on Kurt Warner when he came into the NFL, and I asked him about having played indoor football and the comparison to pro football, bigger field. And he said, weirdly enough, indoor game was somewhat harder because how much faster decisions had to be made. Mm-hmm. Throwing windows were tighter, didn't have as much field to work with. Do you see that somewhat in the indoor game as well as transitioning, time on the ball, et cetera, just kind of the pace of play?
No question. But that's exciting for me. There's more, I don't want to say more strategy and tactics on a big field, but there's a lot more that goes into scoring a goal, for instance. There's so many pieces that have to come together. In the indoor game, it's more, I think, about being alert and aware of what's going on, knowing obviously angles, knowing where your teammates are, and making plays quickly. When I saw a goal Craig scored the other day where he gets a ball. I'm probably going to mess up the terminology. Sorry, guys. Gets the ball in the middle of the box area, and his instinct was to shoot, and he took a split second and waited a second for the defenders to maybe bite, but they didn't bite, and then he took another touch and toe poked it past the goalie. And there are little plays like that in indoor that don't happen often on the outdoor game. The outdoor game, that would be a very rare occurrence, but in indoor, those are types of things that happen quickly, and generally I would think that players who are mentally alert and quick are going to succeed. And that's fun to watch, and I consider myself that type of player, so I hope I can contribute in that way.
Landon in the back, Derek Togers at NBC San Diego.
Hey, Derek.
How you doing? You mentioned the way that this opportunity came about. Had this not come about, were you maybe starting to get mentally prepared for, you're done as a soccer player and you're now retired, moving on to the next phase of your professional life?
I was mentally done like 4 years ago. No, it's not like I have had this crazy desire to go play soccer, but I always try to keep an open mind and play. I would play indoor soccer now. Aside from playing for the Sockers, I would play indoor soccer now. I don't play outdoor soccer anymore. It's not appealing to me. It's hard on the body. It's a lot of running. It's a lot more than I want to be doing in that way. But indoor soccer to me, I would play. I would go to the water tower and play. I have, and it's really fun. So to have the opportunity to do it with a group of people who are competitive and dedicated to it, who happen to be the best team in the league, and to try to help them win a championship. Meanwhile, my family and my kids can come watch me do it. It's a no-brainer. It was an easy answer for me.
Okay, Carrie Taylor with the San Diego Chronicle.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Landon. Long time no see. Can you speak to how you see this move in building the culture of soccer in San Diego and like talk about the fans and what this could mean for San Diego?
Good question. So I've spent the last year and a half plus with the Soccer City Project. Many of you I've seen along the way. I have fallen in love with the soccer community here in a way that I never had anywhere else in my career, including LA, where I spent 10 years. It is a tight-knit group. Many of the people in this room I have come to know well and become friends with, and it's really enjoyable for me to have the ability to continue growing soccer in this city, whether it's indoor, outdoor, amateur, professional, it doesn't matter. So the hope is that this is another step along the way to continue deepening the roots that started in '78 and probably before that with soccer in this city. We know that this is a soccer city and people love it. And so if this gets a few more people interested and continues to nourish the love of soccer in this city, then I'm glad I can be a part of it.
Canio, also with the San Diego Chronicle. Landon, when it comes to goal scoring, I think is obviously something you're known for. Do you set yourself any targets going into this season?
Yep. There's only one. Just want to hold a trophy. So like I said, this team is 10-1. They're the best team in the league. They score goals seemingly for fun. They don't need someone to come in and light up the scoreboard. And candidly, they might not have needed anything to win a championship this year. But if I can help boost with some experience, having been a Major League Soccer champion 6 times and knowing what it takes to do that when it matters, that's my goal. If I don't score a goal, if I don't play a minute, if I don't do anything else, and we're all celebrating in May, that would be fun. At the end of the day, when as you get older, you realize the goals and assists and plays and records and that kind of stuff are enjoyable in the moment, but the memories that matter most to me, that stick with me, are the times I've been holding a championship trophy, and so I want to do that again.
Hello, I'm Jason from East Village Times. If this succeeds and if we do get another championship, we get more championships for the San Diego Sockers, and if the San Diego continues to embrace the sport of soccer, could we see maybe another expansion or push like similar to Soccer City in the future?
Potentially. I think that's a goal, but let's live in the present right now, which is the opportunity to promote and support the team that is here in San Diego, and that's the Sockers. So we can think about the rest later, but for now, this is the focus, and should be for everyone.
Any other questions from the assembled media and our contingent? I wanted to make 2 quick notices as we break down the podium portion of the press conference today. First, sorry, Lane, I called you Lane Davis, and your name's Lane Smith. My brain's been scrambled eggs. You have been called worse, but you weren't called late to dinner, and we do appreciate that. Also, I'd like to acknowledge that here in the crowd, one of the great soccer legends of all time and the USD men's soccer coach, that is Brian Quinn. Quinny is here, number 14, hanging in the rafters. Julie V sent his regards as well. Double Deuce Triple E, Julie V, soccer's legend, offered his regards. He wished he could be here today. Brian will be available along with the rest of our front row participants when we get done here on the podium for questions. And that time is now. We're going to wrap up our broadcast portion of this press conference. Thank you to everyone nationwide for tuning in and all the fans of the Major Arena Soccer League. At this time, we're going to break down for one-on-one interviews, which will be over here to the side. Thank you once again for your time. And let me remind you, the Sockers are awesome. Thank you.
Hey, he loves tequila, by the way.